Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode on my channel. And if you have noticed something, I have actually new gadgets. Rather, there's a new gadget here, but also there's a new gadget behind the camera. So guys, keep on supporting me so that I can get more encouragement to make better videos for you guys. So it's time for another story, and this one is also a personal story for someone, and I have permission to share it. Okay, so what I'm about to tell you is actually a sad story. Not very sad. You don't need some tissues, so if you don't have one, please don't move from your seat. But it is a story that I'm hoping all of us will learn from, both man and woman. If you're watching me, this one is definitely one for the books. Right? So take a pen and paper and take some notes. There's a friend of mine who will remain unnamed, or rather, I'm going to give him a pseudonym for this particular story. And we're going to call this guy Gerald. Okay? Gerald, like I said, good friend of mine. We went to school together, that is university. Remember I told you I was at Kenyatta University? Yeah, so Gerald and I, tulikwanga Kenyatta University. A good fellow. We weren't that close, but because we met on various occasions, on social settings, we kind of bonded. And even to date, we still remain friends. All right? So Gerald, when we were in campus, wasn't a ladies' man. You know, ule mse anakuanga mse wa madem. Hapana, Gerald was a bookworm. Gerald preferred studying over drinks, for example. Gerald preferred going to the library as opposed to going for functions, as opposed to going for games or you know, going for an outing to whether Kahawa and Dani, Githurai, or whatever you want to go town. He, when you guys are having happy, like we like to call it, he was a guy for, you know, getting down so that he can get that A grade, you know, or is it grade A? So, time went by. We malized university. Everyone got out of, or rather got into the job market. And then for Gerald, that is when he decided to have a social life. And by that I mean, he decided to start a family. Found this beautiful girl from, she had graduated from, I think, Moy University, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it was somewhere in Okoivo. So I think it was Moy University where that chick went to school. And I think she also did some business course of sorts. So this chick actually had come to their company as an intern, and that's how they met. Because Gerald, he did also a business-related course. So he got into this big company in Nairobi. This chick came for internship, and that is how they met. A couple of months later, guess what? They had a child, or rather, this chick got pregnant. And I was happy for them because he kept on, you know, updating me, telling me stuff about this chick, and I would be like, hey, bro, man, do good stuff. That's the way to go, and stuff like that. And as expected, the child was born again a couple of months later. And that is when Gerald decided to just go MIA for some strange reason. Every time I would call him up, he would always be busy. Like, hey, can I call you back in a few? You know, and that happened actually when I wanted to start like a long conversation about just general stuff. And he would literally cut me off. And I started realizing, hey, okay, maybe because he's a family man, he prefers not to have long conversations. And you know what? I respected that because that is what friends do. Right? And you don't take offense. Ukiona best yako ameanza kukukata, you should also be intelligent enough to take the cue and start toning down on whatever it is that you guys were doing. And remember, he was a young father, right? And I was happy for him. Now, after a while, after me trying to reach out, and I realized he's minimizing contact and conversations, I was like, okay, maybe this is more than just being a new parent. Maybe this has got something to do with, you know, movie mind your own business kind of situation. And that's exactly what I did. Minded my own business, and I said, if he ever needs me, he will reach out. Now, fast forward to, I think it was a year after our conversation started shrinking. The guy calls me up and he's like, hey, movie, hey, long time, manze, uko wapi? Kuja nikubaya kanyama. Yeah, I was like, okay, cool, you know. Went, we had nyama. So in the process of this nyama conversation, that's when he reveals to me that him and his baby mama at this point had separated. And I was like, eh, why, bro? He was like, you know, you know, guys are never, it was like, it wasn't really clear why they separated. And I was like, at least he made the first step to open up to me and tell me that him and his babe have separated. So, and I said, if he wants to give me more, he will give me more. So I did not prod much more than that. I just let him go with his pace. Again, fast forward. A couple of years later, I think it was probably 2 years later, he had a new girlfriend. I was like, oh, congratulations, you know? These things happen. Remember, I'm a divorcee, so I know a couple of things about moving on. I mean, you cannot stay in one place waiting for a chick or even a guy for that matter. So, long story short, he found a new girlfriend and I was happy for him. But now, me, I was like, hey, a couple of things about this chick kind of made me start asking a lot of questions. Mimi si mtu wa udaku, lakini mimi naweza jipigia udaku. I can gossip with myself, you know, can ask myself certain questions that probably I would want to ask someone else, but I won't because, again, none of my business, all right? This chick that he met, for the sake of this conversation, so this is Gerald, right? And now he's in his second relationship as far as I'm concerned. This chick that he met, let's call her, nipatini jina ya dem, nipatini jina ya msichana, Magdalene. Let's call this chick Magdalena, yeah? So Magdalena was a very beautiful Maasai woman. And when I say beautiful Maasai woman, I'm trying to put this chick so that you can see her the way I saw her. Number one, light skin. Number two, she has that body that models for Louis Vuitton, that body that models for Victoria's Secrets, that body that models for, you know, Versace. Kadem ka slender kafiti, ni kama ile shape ya chupa, right? And that is when I started asking myself, hey, not that I don't expect Gerald to date beautiful women, but me venye najua Gerald, hey, how are you going to handle this chick considering me kutoka venye nakuja kutoka kampo, haukuanga mse wa madem. And then this chick, me, I went through her Instagram profile. Hey, manze, she's hyper. She's an extrovert, whereas Gerald is kind of an introvert towards an ambivert. Ako tu mahali hapo, hayuko extroverted, lakini ako introverted but towards ambivert. Si ambivert nile ya katikati. So anyway, I was like, how is he gonna handle this chick? And then number two, remember I've told you she is, did I tell you she's rich? This chick came from a rich family. They got money. They swim in money. You know, one of those prominent families that comes from the Maasai land. And I was like, Sasa Gerald, hey, ude manze jo mtazana naye. Jo Gerald pia is not moneyed. I mean, he's not poor. He is in a modest lifestyle. He's not rich. He's in a modest lifestyle. But this is a chick that this guy interacted with. And I was like, okay. Again, none of my business. But now this is the thing. The moment you marry into a rich family as a dude, you just know that you're going to be like the wife of that family. Yeah? Wewe ndo utakuanga mtu wa mkono. When there's a funeral, you're the one who's going to be getting guys from Sujui town. You take them to the funeral home. From the funeral home to shags. Yes? When there's a wedding, you just know. You are the guy, you are what they call them, nafanyanga maarusi, watu wanitangwa nani? Transport manager. Yeah, you're the one who's going to organize for people to leave Nairobi to the venue, and from the venue back to Nairobi. If they need to go for accommodation, you're the guy. Basically, you're the kanda ya moko kind of person. And this is what Gerald became rather in this particular family. So, fast forward. They eventually got a child. The first baby mama, he had a girl. Now with this new wife, because they actually did a very amazing rorashio. We went for this rorashio. Hey, ilikuanga na huko Kajiado na huko, ilikuanga noma. Ono ukiingia na huko Kitengele, uende na huko Isinya na huko upite na huko. That is where the rorashio was, and it was amazing. Hey, me, I enjoyed it. You know, there was booze, there was everything. And also other beautiful Maasai girls that I got to see for myself. But that's besides the point. Thing here is, after a while, Gerald and this chick, they did what? They went their separate ways. And I I had to ask myself a lot of questions. Like, why did this happen? Because I was trying to understand. All right. And to date, I really do not have the answers, but I will tell you what I noticed for myself through my own observation, which again shouldn't be taken as the gospel truth. They could be wrong or not accurate observations. This guy, when he got into this relationship with this second chick, I feel like he hadn't been honest with this chick about his lifestyle, because I noticed something when they got together. He kind of changed. He even changed his lifestyle, and I feel like he changed for this chick. He even moved from his house. He moved from his house. He used to live on Ibarabara inaitwaje. He used to live on Waiyaki Way, and he left his modest home in Waiyaki Way. Na huko karibu na Kangemi na huko. He left, actually past Kangemi. He left his modest house and moved in with this chick. They had this amazing house in Karen. And it was obviously not the chick's house, it was the parents' house. I think alinunuliwa nyumba. Or I don't know. But I think, no, wait, they used to pay rent. Oh yes, I remember they used to pay rent. And it wasn't your kawaida rent. Now you can imagine umetoka Kangemi, you're used to paying rent for, say, probably maximum 20-25. Yeah, I don't know how much houses cost in Kangemi, I'm just assuming. Here you are in Karen, you're probably paying 100K plus, probably even towards 150, maybe even 200. I don't know how much houses cost in Karen, okay? But you can imagine umetoka nyumba ulikuwa unalipa your 25K. Now you've been taken all the way to Karen where you're paying rent for 150. And you know women will expect you to provide. Your salo probably hasn't even reached that. It hasn't even reached 100K. Yes? But here is a house, monthly, it costs more than your own salary. And maybe your chick has decided she's going to take you in and take care of you and whatever, which is a good thing, which is actually what should happen. If you do not have money, your babe, your chick, your girlfriend should be able to, chip in. But let's be honest, not all chicks will do that. Anyway, this guy, I know for sure rather that he really struggled to pay this rent. Why? Because a couple of times he borrowed me money. And it wasn't kidogo money. It was good money. And I noticed when I checked the trends of his borrowing, they were during the end of the month when this is when you need rent, this is when you need shopping, this is probably when your mama needs to go for the salon. And I was like, umejipeleka you come to angle. The other thing I noticed about this guy, he upgraded his driving, his machine. Number one, when I knew the guy, when he, got his first job, he bought a modest car. He bought a Demio. I think that Demio was like a KBC or KB something. It was like the first KBs, yeah? He bought that car. And I remember he really toiled to get that car. But now that he's with a new chick, this new babe, this new wife that we did the Rorasho for in his senior, guy had to upgrade his ride. And he started buying expensive cars. I later came to realize it wasn't him who was buying these expensive cars. It was his new bride. Because, hey, there's no way, umeingia kwa familia. Let's even, again, I like giving the example of the Kenyattas. Who may marry, because those guys are that rich. You have married into the Kenyattas, and then you and your academia, now you expect to be driving Ngina Kenyatta around. It's not going to happen, bro. It's not going to happen. So this brother of ours, Gerald, was literally being funded by the wife. And you know the danger in that? It gets to a point, even your own wife will be like, hey, Kase, when are you going to start making money? Because we cannot survive on your 100,000 salo. Me, my dad has brought me up in a mansion, eaten great food. I have traveled the world, and I still travel the world. And you can't provide that for me. So what happened? Gerald and his new bride, tumemwita nani, Magdalena. Now they are co-parenting, and it's not an easy task, this co-parenting situation. Moral of this story, The reason why I'm giving you people's stories is very simple. Guys, love is a very difficult thing. Love is not as we think it is. And the other thing we need to focus on after love is marriage. Do not marry someone for their beauty, because beauty will never sustain a marriage. Marry someone because, number one, obviously they love you, but most importantly, they support your dreams, and those dreams actually align. If you marry someone because they have money, your dreams do not align. Because they are pretty, you and Gerald belong to the same WhatsApp group. So if you're watching this video and you're probably in that situation, you're probably wondering, where is this marriage or where is this relationship going? My friend, there's something called monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluating. Take a pen and paper if you have to. Write the things that you guys actually have in common, and write the things that you guys don't have in common. Write the things that you agree on and the things that you do not agree on. Bro, if those things do not balance, if they do not balance, save yourself heartache. Do not wait to be left at the altar. And worst of all, do not wait to have an entire family, mumezaa watoto, only for you to realize this thing ain't going nowhere. All the best. See you in the next one.